guys, welcome back. So I choose chapter 7, which is marketing, communication and persuasion. So let's start. So firstly is meaning. Marketing communication message about the products and the brands they sell, either indirectly or directly to the customer with the intention to persuade them to purchase. So persuasion is marketing applies what we know about human psychology to develop techniques to market product or services. As we know, consumer communication and persuasion is an essential part of any marketing strategy. In fact, it is the starting point of all improvements, as consumer voices provide companies with the data such as where they are lacking and what all they could do to improve the product or service. Secondly is categories marketing. They have 5, which is public relation, advertising, publicity, direct mail and sales promotion. Let's start with the first categories marketing, which is advertising. Advertising is any form of paid communication with an identified sponsor. For example, advertise on television, magazines and newspaper. This purpose to influence consumer to take action and switch brand to try a new product or remain loyal to a current brand. So secondly is public relation. Public relation is an activity that the marketers use to make public like their organization or and product. For example, corporate social responsibility. So thirdly is publicity. Publicity is an activity that draw attention of the public towards their organization or end product. For example, sponsorship or sports event. This we will see when have FIFA, Euro. So you can see all sport brands like Nike, Adidas, they publicity their product to attract people. So thirdly is sales promotion. Sales promotion is an advertisement that have a specialized function. For example, bigger sales on the years like recently 7/7, bigger sales 11/11 Shopee. So this one of the purpose is to attract people to buy more cheap and to attract people to buy more their product. So lastly is direct mail. Direct mail is information sent directly to the prospective customer through postal service. For example, catalog, traditional way and email with digital way. Guys, did you know there are a difference between 3 categories of marketing, which is marketing, advertising and public relation. Advertising, marketing and public relation are all complementary. They all support one another in some way, shape or form. They are all type of the family communication. These different are very important to understand because, in example, if you are going to build a house, you did not use one tools. You use many tools and it's very important to know which tool that's what. So the main difference between advertising, marketing and public relation you have to know firstly is marketing and advertising are one-way communication while public relation is two-way communication. One-way communication, this means you are communicate through medium that share. While marketing and advertising, the return in offenses, it's sometimes reputation building, but more important, you not advertise or you market the product to release it. So by the end of your campaign, you can actually see a return on investment in advertising. For public relation, use two-way communication because it will last for dialogue, it allows for engagement and allows for true leadership and feedback. So secondly different is payment. With public relation practitioner, you often buy for their service or corporate reputation building. For example, the public relation practitioner hook up with television interview, newspaper for digital portal. Then it's been paid for their service or writing it and sending it. It is the quality of your story. However, advertising and marketing, you are paying for the advertised space to those portal newspapers so that you are assured that you will be carried with public relation is not much so. Advertising space in return for the money guaranteed the broadcast time. For example, if you open YouTube, for the first thing you can see they advertise many things about sport, about job, so that we call it is like advertising. So this public relation, there is no money involved. There is no buying advertised space. The only buying that happen is them buying our ideas, and for them buying our idea is better to be so. So let's move on to the next topic, which is communication process. Communication process refer to a series of action or steps taken in order to successfully communicate. It involves several components such as the sender of the message, the actual message being sent, the encoding of the message, the receiver of the message, and the decoding of the message. So as we see, the firstly is from the sender. The sender of the communicate is the person who initiates the conversation and has conceptual the idea that he intend to convey it to other. So secondly, encoding to the message. Once the encoding is finished, the sender gets the message that he intends to convey. The message can be written, oral, symbolic, or non-verbal, such as body gestures, silence, signs, sound, and so on, or any other signal that trigger the response of a receiver. So thirdly, decoding to the receiver. The receiver is the person whom the message is intended or target. He tries to comprehend the best possible manner such that the communication objective is attained. Depends on his knowledge on the subject matter, experience, trust, and relation with the sender. So lastly, go to the feedback. Feedback is the final step of the process that ensures the receiver has received the message and interpreted it correctly as it was intended by the sender. It increases the effectiveness of the communicate as it permits the sender to know the efficiency of his message. This response of the receiver can be verbal or non-verbal. Next, we go to the next topic, which is communication affects and attitude change. As we know, this is the hierarchy of affects theory model. This is describe how advertising affect consumers' behavior and lead to the transition from not knowing a product or brand to liking it and finally making the action to purchase. The theory was first raised by Robert J. Levitch and Gary Steiner in their article entitled A Model of Predictive Measurements of Advertising Effectiveness, which was published in 1961. So the firstly hierarchy of effect model is awareness. Awareness is make the consumer aware about their product, what they are buying. So this is the first, they have to know safety. So secondly is knowledge. Knowledge is make information about the product easy to find. So if they know about the product, they will like it because they know the such as like ingredients, the calories, and so on. So thirdly is liking. Liking is ensure that the consumer likes your product, if not understand why and fix the problem. So fourthly is preference. Preference is make consumer focus on the product. So 5 is conviction, create the desire to purchase, and 6 is purchase or prescribe, which is make the consumer purchase. This is very important to marketers know, because if you want to market a product, you have to know what people want and need. So this is the effect and attitude you have to change in your market. So that's all for my final assessment. Thank you.